Alright, welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'll be going over the settings I used for Swift Algo X, basically to pass my evaluation account on top step, as well as going over a couple of pro tips with you guys as well. Other than that, let's dive right in to this video. Okay. So let's begin on my Ninja Trader account. This is my personal cash account. Obviously, this is my main account. As you can see, it's a live account. I'm actually over $36,000 on this one. Obviously, this is my main one. Top Step is just really more on experimentations. As you can see, I do have two funded accounts right now, and I'm also on my third Eval account as well. And these two were passed by using Swift Algo X. So far, my funded account, I'm up $1,400. I did took basically 2 winning trades this week. So far, I'm still green for this week, 255. This is just using 2 contracts of M and Q. Day 1 was kind of looser, so it's fine. Obviously, I didn't trade on my new Express funded account just yet because I just activated it this week. And on my Eval account, so far I have 2 winning trading days, so I'm almost up $1,000 for this week. So hopefully I can get a third funded account, and all of this is done using Swift Algo X as well as the Conflux, all on automation. Okay, none of this was done by manual trading. But other than that, let's dive right into my settings. So in the Swift Algo X, I do use basically 1 minute time frame. That's the only thing I'm using is 1 minute time frame. And I do have the indicator sensitivity set to 5 minutes. And I do use a risk to reward ratio as 1:1. And I do have a max stop loss size filter as 0.2. And I do use the default 300 for the EMA line, and I'm using the calculated bars as 5,000. And as for the algorithm multiplier pair, it just depends what's if you're on this dashboard. So for example, it's actually showing an 8 and a 1. Okay, so if I change this basically to an 8 and this to a 1, as you can see, the current setting matches the backtest setting. Okay, so this is actually one of my pro tips. So pro tip is I change it once per day. Okay, so I change it once per day before Asia session starts. Before Asia session starts. Okay, let me repeat. I only change it once per day, and that is before Asia session starts. Only if I need to change it. Obviously, if it's 100%, then obviously I don't change it. That's my window, okay? If nothing changes, then I'm not going to change it. You can change it if it takes a loss, because obviously when it actually loses a trade, the win rate does drop. Okay, if it wins a trade, the win rate increases. Okay, it stays 100% until it takes a loss. It does not mean that the next trade you're going to win it. Okay, hopefully you're not confused by that. If the win rate drops anytime during the Asia session or London, I'm not going to change it. That's one of my rules. The only time I'm changing it is just before Asia session starts. At least around that time. That's the only time I'm going to change. I'm not going to change it in Asia. I'm not going to change it in London. Once I change it, then it's locked until next day. Okay? That's one of my tips. Okay, and also if you go to my strategy report, it's actually Conflux settings. So basically with Eval accounts, I use 7 contracts for M and Q. For funded, I'm only using 2. Okay, so let's say I'm doing an Eval account, I'm using 7 contracts. And I do check on bar close using bar magnify. This is only available on the premium plan. This is more on deep back testing. It makes the strategy report more accurate. Okay. Style tab, the only thing I do is just uncheck this. Visibility, I leave everything as is. Inputs, obviously I do buy signal only. Make sure this is on single. Make sure this is enable. Short signal 1, I just do sell signal only. Make sure that's enabled. I don't use martingale in this one. I may experiment with this in another eval account, but I left this on check. But also note that you do have to change the base quantity. Actually, if you're using the Conflux advanced version, it doesn't actually take this into consideration because it actually goes off this. This does not have to be checked, okay? This has to be checked if you're using martingale, but for the base quantity, you can actually leave this unchecked. It will still go off the base quantity. So you do have to adjust the contracts on this section. I do uncheck use trading windows because I wanted to trade all sessions. So I do uncheck this. Let's see, max trades per day. I do keep this check and I'm only doing 2 trades per day max for me. That's another pro tip is use trade limits. Know your limits. Okay, you have to be disciplined. You have to have strict trading rules. For me, I only want to take 2 trades, no more than 2 trades per day max for me. So you have to figure out what can you tolerate, okay? If the first trade is a winner, I turn off my automation. I'm gonna stop once it wins the first trade. If the first trade is a loser, I'll keep it on. But if both 2 are losers, then I'll be done the rest of the trading day. If that's a winner, then I basically broke even. I'm not going to take a risk with the third trade because if the first trade is a loser, second trade is a loser, I'm not going to risk the third trade being a loser because that's 3 losers in a row, right? And even if the third trade would be a winner, the first 2 is a loser, I'll still be red for the day. So especially if I'm actually asleep, I cannot monitor the trades while I'm asleep. So that's why I'm only risking up to 2 trades per day. Max is my limit, no more than 2. Okay, that's another pro tip is use trade limits. And after first winner, let's see. Sorry guys, I'm actually typing with one hand. So after first winner, I am done. Okay, that's another pro tip for you. Obviously, exit method, indicate exit. And make sure you do choose take profit, stop loss, and same thing with this, take profit, and this one, stop loss as well. And you can also use the break even feature as well. I keep it as default, basically 50% break even trigger distance 50. I keep this, I changed this to 1. I'll enable this later real quick, okay? So I want to actually show you the strategy report. So those are basically my settings I use. So let me show you my strategy report real quick. As you can see, last 30 days did terrible. So let's do actually, if you do reset to chart session, then it'll show 3 out of 3 trades 100%. So I gained over $1,000. Max drawdown was $290. But I also like to go back last 30 days, just to see how it performed last 30 days. Give it a couple of seconds to load. Taking a while. See, okay, so it only took 48% profitable trades. Profit factor was 0.79. P&L was negative 1,000. Max drawdown was 4,000. So I'm not confident in the settings. It did terrible last 30 days. So I don't feel confident using these settings. But as you can see, is 100%, okay? Multiply was 8, paired 1 is 1. Now, watch closely. If I change this 1 to a 2, for example, let's see what it does. See, the period also changed to a 2. But as you can see, it's still 100%, okay? So watch closely. If I change it back to a 1, it changed to a 1. It's still 100%. So letting you guys know, the back test setting just detects the best setting to use at this time, but it does not mean that that's the only setting that would give you 100%, okay? So change this back to a 2. This also updates to a 2 as well, because why? It's still 100%. So if you look at the strategy report, give it a couple seconds to load. You see, that's a lot better. Almost 5,000 P&L, 1,000 drawdown, total trades 28, 64%, profit factor almost 2. I am more confident in using 8 and 2 instead of 8 and 1. So I look at the backtest setting and I also look at the last 30 days for me to make my decision, just to increase confidence. But next trade can still lose or it can still win, regardless whichever settings you choose. But that's just how I personally choose my settings. Like I said, it's not just one setting that gives 100%. It can be, other settings that may also give 100%. Now, let me give you another example. So I find using algorithm multiply anywhere from 7 to 10, like 7, 8, 9, 10 is really good. And any multi period from 1 to 3 tends to be good as well. So let's say we do like a 9 and this to a 1, and let's see. See, even a 9 and a 1 still gives 100%. You see how it actually updates when you change it? Why? Because it still gives 100%. So just click on this again and it will actually update to the current settings report. But anyways, this is something I forgot to mention. It took about 12 days, basically almost 2 weeks for it to actually pass my Eval account, just FYI. So this one, not as good as the other one, even though it still gave 100%. It's still good, but it just wasn't as good as the 8 and 2. So I thought we would still go with the 8 and 2. Let's see, what would 2 give? With the period, I like to stick between 1 to 3. I find 1 or 2 or 3 tends to perform a lot better. So you see 9 and 2 gave me a 66.67%. So 9 and 2 is not favorable. And you see how multiplying period goes back to 8 and 1. Let's try a 3 and see what that gives us. So still not favorable. It gave us 50%, so that's probably done. Let's try 10. See what 10 gives. 33%. Not. It's terrible. So let's try 2. I think 10 and 2 gave us 100% maybe, or was it 10 and 1? Oh no, it only gave us 60%. So let's try 10 and 1. So yeah, see 10 and 1, see how it updated again. See, so 10 and 1 also gave us 100%. So let's see how it did the last 30 days. So just click on this again. And see. Give it a few seconds to load. So it still did good, but 8 and 2 is basically still my winner because that did give me the best results. And I think just one more example, I also like doing 7 and 3 as well. Let's see, and just update this. And if you guys want to automate this, like I said, I'm doing all of this all on automation. Please check out my other YouTube videos as I talk about automation in those videos. And I also talk more in depth about the Swift Algo X settings as well as the Conflux settings as well. This is just giving you really more on tips on how to actually use these indicators at your disposal. So as you can see, 7.3 also gave us 100% as well. And going back last 30 days, it still did pretty good. But 8 and 2 is obviously still the winner. So I'm probably going to be using 8 and 2 as well. But just letting you guys know that you don't technically have to update these settings every single time. Like you can if you want, but even if you stick just to 7 and 3, for example, as you can see, it was performing well the past 1 month. So you can just keep using the same settings over and over. Of course, it's going to give you losing trades. You may even have losing days. That's just normal. But over time and long term, your profits should be increasing based on the strategy report. But obviously, don't always believe what the report tells you. You always have to forecast it. This just increases more of a confidence. It just shows you what's been working well the past 1 month. So even using 7.3, it's still pretty good. You would have passed your Eval account in less than a month, to be honest. Okay, so let's try using the break even feature. Let's enable that. Update report. I may also experiment. I'm using one Eval account on one sitting throughout 1 month and just see how it does on its own without me doing anything. And on M and Q, then I want to also check on NQ, also same thing, using the same settings without changing anything and see how it does in 1 month. So as you can see, actually, let's actually uncheck that. What was the profits before? So look closer at the P&L as well as the drawdown equity. It takes a while to load. So it gave us 3.9 and 1.4. Okay. So with the break even enabled, it actually gave us more in P&L and less in drawdown, and increases our profitable trades as well as our profit factor as well. And if you want Swift Algo X, the link will be in my description. If you also want the Conflux too, the link will also be in my description. See, my profit trades went to 71, profit factor went over 2, and my P&L and drawdown both was increased. This decreased, this increased. So if you go to list of trades, so if you scroll all the way back down, so I see 455. As you can see, I'm in the positives, was never in drawdown in the negatives, and boom, see, I would have passed at this section right there. Now, if you actually did uncheck this, for example, and let's see what the trades would be like. But that's kind of like my thought process on this. So if you see, I would have been in drawdown already, 637, and this one, and then I would be back in 682. So yeah, either way, you will still, pass still. But I'm just giving an example. Like yeah, you would have still passed still. And even if you look at like one contract of NQ, for example. So one contract of NQ. Let's go back to 30 days. It's still updating the report. See, it still did pretty good. Same as the 7 contracts of M&Q. It's still pretty good. I also had the break-even feature enabled, so See, I would have actually ended, took a couple of pretty heavy losses there, but still ended in green. And see, I would have passed an Eval account in less than a month right there if I used the exact same settings all throughout. So you don't really need to update the settings. You can if you want. I've been updating it like once per day anyways. But that's just what I found that actually works a lot better. And I just put the break-even off as 1, so once it goes back down, at least I'll still be in profit, kinda. But yeah. But anyways, that's my thought process on that. I may also do probably 7 contracts of M and Q on a funded account. I may actually do that on my next funded account. So if you do find value in this video, please drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe. I do weekly uploads. And like I said, the Swift Algo X indicator and the Conflux, the links will be in my description. And also automation for traders posts. You can use my discount code and get a good discount on that as well. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video.